Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Super Lunch Roast Podcast, episode number 116. I am Brendan. No Nate for this one. We are going to go over the prelims for the UFC Fight Night, Luque versus Muhammad. This is Devin Clark, William Knight, Lansberg versus Kianzad, Jenkins, Klose, Garcia, Ronson, and some other fights along the way. All right, before we get started, I'd really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe. Please subscribe to the channel if you do like MMA, if you like the UFC especially. I cover every single UFC event. I cover all the Bellator events now. I do all of the American Eagle FC cards, and I'm doing some ONE FC. So if you comment down below, let me know the things that you're more interested in. I will definitely go there. If you have some more obscure Titan FC, I don't know, the Dana White Contender Series, if that's something that people are more interested in, I will definitely cover that stuff. I don't mind. I enjoy watching MMA. I don't feel like it's a chore at all. I enjoy the more the merrier. With all that, let's get started. Please like and subscribe. All right. So the last fight, the main event, if you will, of the prelims was Devin Clark versus William Knight, fighting at heavyweight here. So William Knight having some great gyno. He's had some steroid accusations in the past, and they are warranted, both with his build, his lifts, his impressive strength, and also the fact that he has gynecomastia. That is not a good look, and yes, he might be natural, and that can happen naturally. It's just unlikely with a guy like that. If you don't know my opinions on testosterone and PEDs, I just hate that word because performance-enhancing drugs, anything that enhances your performance, right? Water does. Salt water does. Look it up. It does. Increases, salinated water. So what happens is it replaces the salt that you're losing when you sweat, and increasing force production over time, allowing you to recover in between sets and workouts and things like that. Anyway, the point is, William Knight might be natural. I don't care. My opinion on that stuff is I care less about it than most people, but I still like to bring it up because, for those of you guys who are wondering if he passes the eye test, he does not. This fight was weird. All right, so Devin Clark is a heavyweight. He's very malleable, I would say, flexible, really good kicks. Very athletic, has the loudest dad in the UFC. One of the guys, his dad is one of his coaches in his corner, and he's so freaking loud. William Knight, very strong guy, great in the clinch and that kind of stuff. This fight was weird. So Knight stayed in front, this front headlock or / guillotine position for about 2 minutes, and then he landed a flying knee that rocked Clark bad, got him falling down, but then he got gassed, right? So William Knight gassed in that first round, and you can see on the striking numbers here, 10-3. So it was Knight's round. I think, despite ending up on his back or whatever, I still think Knight ended up winning this round with the damage. Clark, I think, is a better all-around fighter here, but it doesn't matter. So second round went Clark's way. Knight spent most of the second round on his back, so even though he had a fun flip at the end, which he did, so what he did, he got up with 10 seconds left and then ended up doing a back a suplex on Clark and then throwing him down to the ground. Not enough to erase being on your back for 4 minutes, so that does nothing for him. And then in the last round here, Clark caught Knight in the separation from the clinch and got the finish. So he gets the finish, ends up winning by KO. I think he put his lights out, to be honest with you, at 3:21 in the third round. What to make of Clark? I think he still has a lot of holes in his game. I think he's still a pretty raw talent, but he does have skills. I think in heavyweight that can go far. Especially because I don't think he's an older guy. William Knight, on the other hand, not a natural heavyweight. He just, didn't want to cut down or whatever. I think light heavyweight is probably still the best weight class for him. He's had some unfortunate, losing to Maxime Grishin last time. He hits hard. He hits hard. He's a strong fighter, and he's a scary dude. So I'm not saying he can't win fights at heavyweight. Absolutely, he can. I think Devin Clark's a really good heavyweight. It's just, do I think that's his natural weight class or where he's going to be most successful? Probably not. As fast as whatever other things you want to say, like, oh, I feel better at this and that. Dude, if you're not getting the wins, it doesn't fucking matter. I don't care how good you feel. If it's not translating into wins, then there's no point. And I mean that hard. There's no point in how you feel if you can't win. I mean, if the way for you to get wins is feeling like crap and hating yourself and hating life and on the verge of not wanting to live anymore, I'm taking it to the extreme here, but if that's what it takes for you to win, maybe the sport's not for you. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you feel really good and everything's like, I feel fast, I feel strong, and I feel the best I've ever felt, but you can't get a fucking win, then it doesn't matter how you feel. You can't that's not sustainable. You can't do that. So I hope that he cuts back down, because I think that's where he'll be most successful. And I still think he can get wins. He does need to work on his ground game, though. All right. Don't mind the girls in the background. They are looking for eggs. It is Easter after all. All right. Lena Lansberg versus Pani Kianzad. This fight was a little bit of a slow starter, but then boy did it pick up in the second half of the last 2 rounds. Good grief, Brendan. All right, Kianzad with the grapple advantage and doing damage in that first round. I easily gave her the first round, but if you can see here, was not very active. 5-3 on the significant strikes. Not much to really take note of here, but I gave that round to Kianzad. And then in the second round, Lansberg was a bloody mess, but and Kianzad was probably winning that round, but Lansberg landed a nasty hard elbow and then a beautiful straight to drop Kianzad. That took away the round. So if you want to look at the striking numbers here, it doesn't tell the story. 22-15 in favor of Kianzad, but the damage clearly went to Lansberg in the second round. So it was all tied up going into the third. Then Kianzad kept good space and outstriked her to get this last round, and that's exactly what it was. 51-21 here. Clear striking advantage, better striker on the feet, much cleaner striking, better at distance management. She put everything together here in the third round, not taking too much damage. Easy win, easy round for her, good win. It was a bloody mess. It was a fun fight to watch, too. I think... Did this get fight of the night? It did not. It was a fun fight to watch. The first round, like I said, a little bit slow, but it picked up real quick. Lena Lansberg's nickname is Elbow Queen. I did forget about that. All right. Jenkins, Brandon Jenkins versus Drakkar Klose. Jenkins is nicknamed the human highlight reel, and it's unfortunate that he's on somebody else's. The first round here, Jenkins was using Homer Simpson defensive techniques, taking all those shots to the face. No way his brain is okay after that. Look at these striking numbers, please. 66-15 in favor of Klose. Holy crap. And those were not light shots. Look at how many to the head. Significant strikes to the head. Right here. 48 significant strikes to the head in the first round for Drakkar Klose. 48 of those 66 strikes, and they were hard strikes. Dude, Jenkins got a chin, he's tough as nails, blah, 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 all those things about being tough. That's great. I will tell you that it was a bully beatdown. It was awful. I never want to see anything like that again. It's not enjoyable to watch. I don't care what the odds of Jenkins coming back and winning. I don't enjoy watching that, because it wasn't there are times, right? Like where Darren Elkins, he's looking for he's called the damage because that's what he does. He does take a lot of damage. But, he's working in grappling exchanges. He's trying to tire out his opponent. He's working in different situations and trying to do stuff. And yes, he takes a lot of damage, but he's always working. Dude, Jenkins was just backing up to the fence, getting punched in the face, circling around, getting punched in the face, throwing one strike, getting punched in the face. It was nothing but damage going his way for, the last 3 minutes of that first round. It was awful to watch. I hated it, and they still came out for the second round for some reason. And then mercifully, who stopped? Herb Dean stopped this. Thank God. Klose only landed 10 shots in the second round. Again, mercifully, because it could have gotten a lot worse, because Jenkins was getting back up. He was still with it, still able to defend himself, and he was getting back up. But barring some crazy shit that, probably wasn't going to happen, dude, Jenkins just took way too much damage. I don't like seeing that stuff, at all. All right. Let's talk about some controversial stuff, shall we? Garcia versus Ronson. All right. Rafa Garcia versus Jesse Ronson. So, first round, Garcia did more damage. He outlanded him. I see on the striking count. I think he did a good job here. I think the first round easily went to Garcia. He did a good job, like I said, mixing in his wrestling, doing a decent job on the feet. I think he had more variety, and it allowed him to output more damage because Ronson didn't know what was coming back at him. He looked not a little bit lost, but a little bit hesitant just for a split second, and allowed Garcia, who might not be the better striker necessarily, just to outstrike him and outwork him and do more damage. And he clearly played out in the striking numbers as well, 26-23. Then here comes the second round. Garcia landed an illegal knee that got a point taken away from him, right? But then eventually Garcia gets a rear naked choke to finish the fight, so cheating pays off again. All right. I talked about this already. I have a separate video coming out later this week. It's just a clip from the main podcast that I did with Nate. We talked about illegal strikes, so I'm not going to talk about it too much. But the guy broke the rules. He threw an illegal knee, did damage that he shouldn't have been allowed to do, and because of that, in that same round, he ends up getting a submission. And then he gets congratulated not only by the commentary team, but also, with his paycheck, saying, "Oh, hey, you got the win. Look, that's how you finish a fight. That's how you take it out of the judge's hands." But he broke the rules. Guys, he broke the fucking rules here. Okay, I'm not saying he doesn't deserve a win or that he necessarily wasn't winning the fight or wasn't going to win the fight regardless of whether or not this illegal strike happened. What I'm saying is, let's not celebrate the guy who just struck the guy with an illegal knee and then gets the finish 30 seconds later. Okay? Let's not do that shit. I'm just going to keep that on this one because there's another illegal thing that we have to talk about on the next one, unfortunately. Yeah. Okay. Martin Buday versus Martin Buday versus Chris Barnett. Sorry. All right. So this one, more of a fight than the one we just talked about, but still with the same. Different ending, similar to how the co-main event ended. So Buday with the pressure and equal damage. So I gave Buday the advantage in round one. I clearly wasn't watching close enough because he was way ahead on the striking numbers. Maybe I wasn't counting those close strikes when they were in the clinch as significant strikes and they got counted. So he was clearly had the advantage. I think Buday was definitely ahead. So I gave him the first round. Second round, more of the same. He was just laying out the damage and tons of pressure against the cage. I think as a heavyweight, he's a big dude. He looks really good. And I think going forward, he's going to be a problem for a lot of people if he maintains this level of, not success because that's derived from your performance, but if he maintains this level of proficiency in mixed martial arts and he can show this against a higher level of opponents, because Barnett's not the biggest heavyweight, so maybe when he comes up against a guy who's his size, maybe he doesn't look so impressive. So let's give him a bigger guy who's maybe not as skilled as him, but can give back a little bit. But anyway, third round goes here. So Buday ends up getting the win, but in the third round, it doesn't happen without controversy. So in the third round, which I've said so many times now, Barnett was hunched over in the, like, on all fours position, sort of. And Buday lands an elbow to the back of the head. Now, he threw it while Barnett was kind of turning in transition. It wasn't so much, I would say, like in the open where someone's like turning their head and then you accidentally hit them in the back of the head. I think it was a little more egregious than that, but not necessarily so bad that I would say that Buday was doing it on purpose. I don't think that was happening at all. But he did land a strike to the back of the head. And side note, refs really don't give a shit. They say watch the back of the head, but those strikes happen all the time. I've seen like 30 strikes to the back of the head happen, and there's no consequences. It happens all the time. I hate that shit, especially because it usually happens in like fight-ending sequences where the guy's just throwing random shit and it's hitting the guy in the back of the head. Every single one of those should not count. Therefore, they should not be able to end the fight on those strikes. Anyway, Barnett goes down. They bring in the doctors. Barnett can't continue, and he starts protesting afterwards. But what happens is, because they went into the third round, they get to go to the judges' scorecards for a decision, similar to how it did on the main card in that fight. And because of that, Barnett loses. Buday was clearly ahead in the first two, and he was ahead in the third. So, he didn't even get a point deducted for that elbow. This one's less egregious than the knee to the head one, because I think with a rule change that can mitigate a lot of those issues with the knees to the head. I think a grounded opponent can be better defined. Maybe the position itself needs to be changed and look at. But anyway, in this instance, I don't think it's as bad. I think it's kind of a unique situation, and I don't think it's one that's going to come up very often, but it still goes along with the same theme that we had for the night, which is cheating gets you the wins. So just keep fucking doing it. Cheat until you get punished for it. And even when you get punished for it, guess what? You still can get the win, make your money, move on to the next fight because you have the win on your record. There's a W next to your name. Wikipedia says it. It says it on ShareDog. So guess what? Nobody's going to remember that illegal strike you threw. So that's the theme here. Just keep fucking cheating because that's how you get paid. Fighting clean does you no good. It just doesn't. There's no reason to fight clean, right? Fighting with good technique, yes. Fighting with good punching, kicking, well-rounded MMA, having a lot of vast experience, all the different things that you can say, those are all beneficial. So's cheating. Okay. Jordan Leavitt versus Trey Ogden. This was actually a pretty close fight. So, fun one to watch at that. I'll pull this up for you guys. First round here. Ogden out in front on the feet and then slips. He slipped and fell down, and then that's how Leavitt got on top, which, that's not a takedown, but he still did have control in that first round. I don't count it for anything because Ogden threw up a guillotine and held it for the last 30 seconds. So he threw up offense from his back, and he was able to control him when off his back, and he did more damage. I felt like on the striking numbers, I guess I'm wrong, like as far as total output, but I felt like Ogden did more damage with his strike. So it was close enough that if you gave this to Leavitt, I'm not mad, but I gave it to Ogden. All right, second round. Hard to score that round because Leavitt landed 30 leg kicks that were slapping the leg. They kept talking about him because they did show visible damage, like they're breaking the capillaries and stuff on the surface of the skin of Ogden. Leavitt was, slapping with his leg against it. And, they're leg kicks, so just mass alone is going to allow for some cumulative damage. But if you slap a spot enough, even with your hand and lightly, it's going to turn red and eventually slightly bruise. And, it's just cumulative damage to that single area. And that's kind of what was happening. It wasn't really affecting Ogden's ability to move. Not a single one of those was thrown with fight-ending intentions. And I don't necessarily, know if I would put 20 of those things on as significant strikes. I guess you can count them. But that's why he was so far out in front here. I said it was hard to score that round because Leavitt landed 30 leg kicks and there were slapping leg kicks, and Ogden was pressuring forward and landing big shots to the body himself. I think his shots, were doing good damage. The real difference maker was those leg kicks, and I gave the second round to Leavitt. I thought, that cumulative damage did do more. I'm not going to sit here and blindly say that leg kicks do nothing. I think that's asinine and a little ignorant, but I think we need to understand there are different levels of leg kicks, right? You got your Edson Barbosas, okay? Your Justin Gaethjes, Jose Aldo back up above Gaethje, I would even put him. And then all the way down here was those Jordan Leavitt kicks. Not that they were insignificant. It's just on the level of fight-ending intention. He's not ending a fight with those fucking kicks, whereas Aldo was, and so is Barbosa, and eventually so does Gaethje. Right? Those are some hard-ass leg kicks. So, and I don't want to hear it. This is at lightweight, so all those guys fit in that category, if not lighter. Third round here, Ogden just got tired. Trey Ogden, I felt like he could have won this fight. All he needed to do was I say all he needed to do, like I could do that. That's not what I mean. I think it was a simple thing for him to do. Simple as in execution wise, maybe not as ability, cardio wise, because that's just, he wasn't able to do it. His cardio just gave out on him, and Leavitt really went to, got on top and, laid on him. And that's it. So that last round I gave to Leavitt. I mean, if you want to look at this striking numbers, Ogden was ahead, but I gave that last round to Leavitt. And it was a split decision, which, I don't think is unwarranted because of that first round. And that, because of that second round. Maybe the third round, maybe somebody gave it. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I don't disagree with that. I think it was a good decision. All right. All right. Nunes versus Hughes. So Estela Nunes versus Sam Hughes. This was a interesting fight. So the way it started out, Nunes has some really nice striking. She does. Very snappy and powerful. This first round easily went to Nunes. Look at the striking numbers, 40-15, and each one of those was significant, I promise you. Very good strikes from her, very crisp, looked great. Sam just kind of looked lost out there. Then in the second round, Nunes kept poking the eyes lightly and getting warnings, and then grabbed the fence. So she not only poked her multiple times in the eyes, she also grabbed the fence, didn't get a warning for that. She just kept getting warnings. Hey, that's not how this shit works. And then in that second round, I think Hughes did enough to, even though she lost on the striking numbers here, 37-31, I think she did enough with that takedown and the ground and pound to warrant a second round win. So I had it going into the third. And then Hughes won that last round just with grappling, and then there was finally a point deduction from an eye poke. Finally. So I easily gave her that last round, 29-27. Adelaide Bird didn't see it that way. I'm not mad at her. She's famous for making bad decisions. I don't think a draw here was out of the question with that second round. I think you can easily give it to Nunes. But yeah, it's just unfortunate that we had so many frickin' fouls on the night. Yeah, and opening up the card, we had Alatengali versus Kevin Kroom, and Alatengali just knocked him out. That was the end of it. He knocked him out 47 seconds into the first round. So, it's a quick fight. Not much to talk about on that one. This first fight of the card, there's nothing crazy going on. Kevin Kroom's probably going to get cut. He's got a no contest versus Roosevelt Roberts. And then it lost to Alex Caceres, Brian Kelleher, and now him. Kevin Kroom's probably going. Yeah, there's no reason for him to be in the UFC right now at this point in his career. Yep. All right. That is it for the prelims. So, like I said at the top, I'd really appreciate it if you'd like to subscribe. If you didn't catch the main card, I did a previous episode with Nate on that one, episode 115. And then Bellator, I also talked about the Bellator fights. Episode 114, I talk about Bellator 277. So if you missed that one, that's over there. But please like and subscribe if you made it this far. It means a lot to me. Happy Easter if you're watching this on Sunday. If you're watching it during the week, I hope everything's going well for you, and I hope you have an amazing week. Love y'all.